I want to tell you guys a story today because it's topical to me right now. Saturday night, my neighborhood, which is about 39 homes, pretty small, right? Two little streets, not big at all. They had a little neighborhood party. Okay. Hey Jay, right here. Huddle. So we had a little party Saturday night, and at the party, they don't really know me yet because I've only lived there for about 4 months. So they don't really know me as like a real estate guy, right? Because I really haven't, I'm not in production anymore. I really haven't marketed myself. So some of them kind of know what I do, but they don't think of me like that. Does that make sense? They just think I'm one of the new people that live in the neighborhood. That's pretty much all they think. Fair enough? So go to this party Saturday night, and through the course of the party, learn of 5 people who are going to be selling their home in the next 60 days, before the end of the year. Interesting. Why? I think, Melissa, you helped us with the sale. We hadn't had any other sales in the neighborhood like in FMLS history, right?
No.
So what's that mean? Going back 18 months? How far back does it go before it drops off solds?
You can go back several years, but there was nothing sold in your neighborhood in like the last 5 years or something like that.
Right. Now, all of a sudden, since I moved in, 2 homes have turned over, and 5 more apparently are going to be putting their home up for sale. We're walking back down the street, and Jane says, so 5 people are going to be selling their homes. Like she's thinking about that like we need to go after 5 listing opportunities. That isn't what struck me. What struck me was all 5 people already knew who they were going to list their home with. And we weren't having the conversation like if Rob said, yeah, we've got a house up in Highlands and we're just going to move there full time. And then I didn't say, oh, well, I'm with Century 21. It wasn't like that. I just played along like you would as a neighbor. I'd go, oh, okay, great. Well, how long have you had the place in Highlands? And they would tell me, and I'm like, great. So this will be full time? Yeah. Will you miss being in Atlanta? No. I'm like, okay. So we just had that conversation. I didn't push them for business. I just didn't feel it was the setting for it. Right? That's more of a follow-up conversation. Hey, Rob, from our conversation the other night, right? All 5 people in the conversation already knew who they were going to do business with. They already had their real estate agent. That's interesting. Not one of them said, I'm going to call that guy on the billboard. What's that guy's name? Not one of them said, that gal on the radio that does it for really cheap, I'm going to call her. What's her name? None of them said that. None of them were the least bit ambiguous on what they were going to do. They all already had their real estate agent lined up. They just knew the person. They said it like, oh, well, we're going to list with Rob. I'd say, really? So how are you going to sell the house? You going to list it? Or are you going to try to sell it yourself? What were your plans? And they said, oh, well, we're going to hire Rob. Like, what the hell else would you do? I'm like, really? So how do you know Rob? I don't know. We've just known Rob forever. Or Rob sold us this house. Or Rob's in my whatever club. Right? It was just assumptive. It was just a shrug. But they were all very definite on hiring Rob. Or whoever their agent was. I find that fascinating. When you combine it with this obsessive drive for leads in our business. Not one of them said, I don't know, do you know of a good agent? Or, when the time comes, we'll interview several agents and go with the cheapest one. None of them said that. All 5 said, we're going to hire Rob. But on the flip side of it, on the way we think, the way our whole industry thinks, is, well, who are these people? Like, who's on Zillow? What home buyers are on Zillow, and how many home buyers do you think are out there right now that go to Zillow to find a real estate agent to help them? Does anybody think people do that? You think there's anybody out there outside of our building right now that's going, you know what we're going to do to find a real estate agent to help us find the right house? Let's go to Zillow and see who contacts us first or who we like the best.
Yes, I think it has.
You think some people do that? Okay.
We did before we moved here.
You use a real estate agent? Okay. What do y'all think? Is that a lot of people or a small number of people?
Very small. I've heard of it once where they put the home up, maybe force of our owner, just so they can get agents to call.
Most people or few people?
Few.
Few people. Nobody's going to Zillow to find a real estate agent. So who's on Zillow?
People just looking around at houses.
Other realtors.
So Joe and I talked about this morning. Joe, if you knew somebody, think of a friend of yours, and they're browsing for homes. So Zillow's just a catalog, right? It's just like a shoe catalog online. If you wanted to, my wife browses all the time. She didn't buy anything, hopefully, but if she bought proportionally to shopping, I would be bankrupt, right? Do any of y'all have similar experiences inside your home? Okay, so Joe, think of somebody you know well, and would they possibly go to Zillow and browse for homes?
Yeah.
Yeah, they might, just to see what's out there. If they saw something they liked and they wanted to see it, what would they do? They would call you. They wouldn't click on the listing agent or one of the other agents next to the house. Melissa, you think of a friend. Who's the gal that you brought in here, the dark-haired gal that day?
Nicole.
Nicole. You and Nicole are friends. Nicole's not in real estate.
She actually is.
Oh,
She's an agent.
okay. Bad example.
My sister's a perfect example.
Okay.
She goes on Zillow. But she's not in real estate. She doesn't know the process.
If she saw a house on Zillow that she wanted to go see and take a look at, what would she do?
She would probably click on that and become somebody's lead.
Why would your sister click on a house? She wouldn't just tell you, hey, can I go see this house?
It would be the thing that I think she would say.
What if she liked the house and wanted to buy it?
Or she would want me to help her.
So don't act, as agents, don't act so shocked by this. Well, I showed them the house and now they want Melissa to write the contract. Of course. Why did she not just call you to see the house?
She didn't want to bother me.
She didn't want to bother you. She didn't mind bothering Rob. Well, we'll let Rob give up his morning and come out here and show us the house. But if we see one we actually want to buy, we're going to do what? We're going to call Melissa, or we're going to call Joe. We're going to call the person we know. I want you to see who's calling Mark Spain to list their house. No, you're wrong. 3,000 times this year plus, people will call him to list their homes.
People who just don't know a realtor.
Yes. They're not loyal to a realtor. Melissa's sister, if Melissa exited the planet today, Melissa's sister would now not have a real estate agent. She might actually, if she clicked it and they showed her the house, they might actually go ahead, her sister might go ahead and actually buy the house from that agent. This is the point. We've got to get this. If you don't get this, you're done. You've got to get this point. People buy homes from people they know, they like, and they trust. And if you're not working on expanding that circle every day, then the get from you. So watch what agents are doing today. We're trying to get leads off of Zillow. I say we're going about it backwards. You're doing exactly the opposite thing. What you should be doing, instead of trying to pay for leads that you get that aren't loyal to anybody, you should be trying to expand the circle of people that wouldn't think about buying a house without calling you. I wouldn't think about buying a house without, like the people that I met this weekend. Well, how are you going to sell the house? Well, we're just going to call Jeff. Why? Jeff's our real estate agent. Why? I don't really know. He just is, and we like him, and he's a good agent. How do you know he's a good agent? Because I know him. And because I know him and like him, that makes him a good agent. Does that mean Jeff is really a good agent? No. It just means they know him and they like him. So people we know and we like, we assume credibility. You assume they're good at what they're doing. They might not be. I don't know. My friend is a dentist. So guess who my dentist is? My friend. Is he a good dentist? He hasn't messed anything up yet. But could there be another dentist out there that's actually better and more affordable? There probably is. Well, why don't you take the time to find him? I don't want to. I know him. I like him. He hasn't hurt me. We're good. He's a good dentist. The 5 people I met Saturday night, they weren't saying, I'm going to Zillow, or I'm going to the billboard, or I'm going to a radio station, or I'm going to wait till I get somebody's stuff in the mail. They weren't even saying we're going to use the person that sold other homes here in the neighborhood. They weren't doing any of that. They were just going with their assumptive friend. Now, I think people define friends differently. My wife thinks that everybody she's ever met in her life is her friend. And if we were, I can create an argument in my house tonight very easily. All I have to say is, you know, Jay's not really your friend, Jane. Yes, she is. No, she's not. What'd Jay do this weekend? Well, I don't know, but we're still friends. No, you're not. If you don't know what's going on in Jay's life, you're not friends. She's somebody you know. Oh, my wife, she'll get into it with me over that because she passionately believes everybody she knows is her friend. The point's this. If you ask her who she was listing her home with, she would say, a friend. You know, it's not a friend. It's not a friend like I think of a friend. I think of a friend as, hey, like I know in life, we see each other and talk to each other very frequently. We do stuff together. If I haven't seen you in 5 years, you're not my friend. You're somebody I used to know. Right? But I don't think I'm the normal person when it comes to that. I think people that if I know you and like you, then you're my friend. I think that's how they frame it. I think the 5 people I met Saturday night all indicated, well, I'm listing with Rob. Why? Rob's my friend. Oh, I've known Rob forever. I don't really think that's true. I think they think it's true. Here's what I think they're saying to me Saturday night. I'm very comfortable with Rob. Rob's not objectionable to me. He's easy to get along with. He's likable. I don't think they really said anything more than that. They didn't say they were going to go to Zillow. They didn't say they were calling Open Door. They didn't say that they were calling Mark Spain because they saw his billboard and they thought it was really clever. They're not saying any of that at all. They're saying we're going to list our house with somebody we know, we like, and we trust. Now, if you agree with that, then you only have one thing to do today and every day. And that is to continue to expand the circle of people who would say that about you. And every day, that circle has to get a little bit bigger. At least one more person every day has to go, well, Jeff, I don't need to sell my house now, but if I did, I would absolutely call you. And then, using ninja selling language, then you have to stay in the flow with them. Because you had that thought one time doesn't mean that Jeff's going to keep name recognition with you. So that 3 years from now, if I needed to sell my house, I wouldn't go, oh, well, I told Jeff 3 years ago. Why? Because I'm constantly meeting other people too. And if I meet somebody else and Rob does a better job at positioning himself with me as credible and likable than you do, then you're out and he's in. Right? So we have to stay in the flow with people. How do we stay in the flow with people? With CRM, canned, spammy email messages. No. You don't want to get that shit. I don't want to get that shit. Nobody wants to get that shit. We have to do what's really, really hard, don't we? We have to create, Jeff, has to stay connected with me very frequently over a long period of time. And that's really, really hard. So how do you do really, really hard things? How do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
Mm-hmm. A little bit every day. A little bit every day. One I was like, you know those 11,000 homes I've sold, Joe? Like, I'm going to go I woke up this morning, I just got back from a conference. I'm all super fired up and motivated, right? I heard all these speakers and I was like, that's right. Time to get my stuff together again. Today I'm motivated, Mike. It's time. Now I'm refocused and re-energized. So all 11,000 are going in my CRM. And Zoe, we're going to do a targeted ad campaign to all 11. No, we won't. That's crazy talk. You know, all 11,000, I need to get connected with them. Mike says, everybody you know on the planet you need to be connected to on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So let's get it on. By 6 o'clock tonight, I'm going to get connected to everybody. No, you're not. No, you're not. That's crazy talk. You won't do it. You'll start. Anybody ever done this? You get a project started, and then it's like that puzzle you started on a table one day, and it just sits there forever. The book you started reading that you never finished. A little bit every day. So what I want you to be able to tell me is how much and by when. How many people are you going to try to extend your sphere with and stay connected with every day? And at what time every day are you going to do that? My wife says this, my wife, and Jay too. Jay will say, says it, but people that are fanatical about their exercise programs and their fitness and what they eat, they talk like this. My wife will say this about her sister. You know, the problem with my sister is she asks herself if she wants to go for a walk. Do you do that in the morning? Do you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and ask yourself, do I feel like getting up and going to work out? Well, if you woke up this morning at 3 and you ask yourself that question, what would the answer have been?
Roll back over.
Roll back over. So Jane will say it like this. Don't ask yourself the question. Prospecting sucks. Can we just say it out loud? Is there anybody in the room that disagree that prospecting is boring and monotonous and there's rude people and it's not fun? You ask yourself, do I want to do this? The answer's always no. It's not an option. Carl, what do you do at 8 o'clock every morning? I don't know what that means. Did you just give me the finger?
On the phone.
On the phone. Every morning. David, talk every morning.
Phones.
Every morning. Right. Jay, what time do you get up?
3:30.
3:30. Tomorrow I want you to stay in bed till 7.
It's like wasting that.
What?
They go.
What? Why not? What would happen?
I would get charged for not going to the gym. I would then have to take little man to school.
I'll pay little man to school. You just stay in bed till 7
I
o'clock.
didn't even know how to schedule.
Could you do it? Could you physically lay in bed until 7 a.m.?
I'm pretty tired, so maybe. I take things to sleep, so if I need that.
When you get rituals, habits, you just do it every day. David and Carl, they just do this every day. When you don't do it, like something's wrong. Does anybody experience that? Greg, do you experience that in your life? Like
Yeah, I try
in your world?
if I am not sending out my personal notes between 6 and 8 in the morning, if I don't do that, then my day is off to a bad start. There's nothing, I mean, it's off to a bad start. That has to happen every day. And depending how much is going on determines if I start that at 5:45, 6, or 6:30. But it has to be done by it.
And if you don't do it,
I just go crazy. I mean, it bothers me personally.
so Rob and Dennis work together. And this is so funny because this is a classic example. I just chuckle about it the rest of the afternoon. They both come in and we're having a little meeting in our office. And Dennis just kind of not so gently makes the point, he's been a total asshole this week. Well, if you know Rob, if you spend any time with him, Rob's not a total, that's not possible. Rob's like one of the nicest people you could ever meet. What was going on? Do you remember?
Just a lot of stuff going on, trying to get
So I remember it because it was so funny to me. He had gotten off his regular exercise program. And his partner's going, we got to get him back on his regular exercise program because he's too difficult to deal with now. Do you remember that?
Yes.
When do you exercise?
First thing in the morning.
How many days a week?
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
And what happens when you don't?
It's a mess. It throws off my whole day.
His partner's coming to me going, we got to get him back on the exercise because I can't live with this guy any longer. That's a ritual. It started off as a habit, and now if he doesn't do it, if they don't do it, if she doesn't do it, the whole day's off. Something's wrong. How long does it take for it to become that? I don't know. But people that tell you 4 to 6 weeks don't know what the hell they're talking about, okay? It's not 4 to 6 something for a month. When I start doing it, it doesn't feel that weird. It's much longer than that. And this is the separator. You got to get this. Miss this, you miss it all. Everybody thinks it's a lot easier. They think, oh, all I have to do to start getting up at 3:30 every day, all I have to do is do that every day for a month. That's not true. That's crap.
I did morning radio for 13 years. You never get used to that.
But how long before you didn't need an alarm clock anymore? Jay, how long is it before you don't need an alarm clock to get up at that time anymore?
I'm different because I doubt myself, so I have like 6 alarms. And I would have not set them.
So here's the answer. It never gets easy. 13 years.
I don't hit snooze ever. That's the problem when you hit snooze. 9 more minutes, 9 more minutes, 9 more minutes. Then you're awake anyway for 9 times 10.
The bad messaging that's out there, I think, is this. Hey, all you have to do is buy leads off of Zillow. You know who that is? You know who you're buying? You're buying Sarah, Carl's wife, who Yock ran an ad, and Sarah responded to the ad. Now Yock thinks she's a lead, and he's paying money for the lead. And she's going, Carl, can you get this guy at your office to quit calling me? Why are you calling my wife? She responded to my ad. That's what it all is. It's all junk. What's the real answer? Don't do that. That's all crap. Bob's next door neighbor sold his house to Open Door and then walked next door and asked Bob if he could help him find the next house. Is that weird? Why didn't he just ask Bob to help him with the open door thing, with the instant offer? He didn't know Bob could do that. He did know that Bob could help him find the next house. He didn't know that Bob could help him with the instant offer. Why? Bob just thinks everybody can read his own mind. Oh, well, you live next door to me. Let me do a little mental telepathy here. Oh, Century 21 has an instant offer program too? Well, I'd rather deal with them than deal with some company I've never heard of before. I'd rather deal with my next door neighbor who's a likable guy than deal with some company I've never heard of before. Oh, the only problem is my next door neighbor didn't let me know that was a product offering that he had for me. So I assumed that he couldn't, but I did ask him to help me find the next house. Why didn't Bob tell him? Because he's not spending time every day being connected to his next door neighbor. What time is that every day? You're your own business. You get to decide that. But you have to decide that. What time every day you're going to work on your messaging to people you want to be your customer. Now, I don't care what time ever you do it every day, but you have to do it. So if you go home tonight or you stop working at whatever point and you didn't do that today, you didn't work. I don't know what you did, but you just played. You played at real estate today. Because just like the 5 people that I met Saturday night, people would prefer to use somebody they know, they like, and they trust. There's a critical element to that. You have to give them the chance to get to know you. That's your job. Greg, I hate to say this to you, and I hope you won't take it as an insult. There's a lot of damn people in the mortgage business. And I'm not coming to you because you have the best rates. You don't. He doesn't have the best rates. The truth is, I don't really know if he does or not, and I'm not going to do an exhaustive study to find out. There's a lot of people. I go to Greg when Jane and I bought a house this spring. Why? Because I know him, and I like him. And because I know him and I like him, I trust him. And it's my home purchase, and I don't want it to get screwed up. And I don't really want to share all this really personal information with somebody that I don't know. I don't know are you selling the information to other people? Probably. I don't know. I don't think Greg would. I think Greg, my experience with him makes me think Greg's going to do whatever he has to do to make sure that I have a good experience. That's what I know about Greg. Greg's not going to lie to me. Why? I've never known him. You know, in the 25 to 30 years that I've known Greg, there's 2 things. I was telling somebody Saturday about this. There's 2 things that I could say to you about Greg. I have never, not once, ever heard him say a negative thing about somebody else. Excuse me. Ever. And I've never heard him cuss. Now, he probably has, but I haven't heard it. Hey, you know what? If those are 2 absolutes that you know about somebody, that's not bad. Never heard him say a negative thing about somebody else. Never heard him cuss. I got Karen to cuss. I can get you to cuss. We have to go out every day and expand the circle of people who know us, like us, and trust us. Every day. I don't care what time you do it, though I'm going to argue with you vehemently that is morning hours, a.m., to make sure it gets done. But if you say, no, I want to do it at night or in the middle of the day, I guess I don't care. But I will say this, you didn't work today if you didn't do that. If at least one more person can't say today that I know you, I like you, and I trust you. And I don't need to buy or sell a home today, but if I did, I would hire you because I know you and like you. Folks, 3,000 people this year are going to call Mark Spain. And I say, who are these people? Who's calling the guy on the billboard? You know who's calling the guy on the billboard? The person that doesn't know Rob. That's who. We were talking about this a little earlier, and I said, of all the people you know, how many of them would call somebody they didn't know on a billboard if they knew you? And his answer was, well, none. Like, I know. But 3,000 people are going to list their house with some guy they've never met before. Why? Because we don't do our jobs. That's why. Mike Ferry would say this in his training: every expired listing in the marketplace today is your fault. It's not that listing agent's fault. It's your fault. Because you didn't do your job. And David, what's your job?
To help sell homes.
Right. They didn't know David. So they hired some agent who wasn't as competent, and now their home didn't sell, and they're frustrated and mad at the whole industry. Yeah, that's true. And that's David's fault. Because David didn't give them a choice before they put their home up for sale. These 5 people I met Saturday night, they're doing it with somebody they know, they like, and they trust. What are you going to do today to expand? Maybe it's just one more person, but one more person every day leads up to be a whole bunch of people. What are you going to do so one more person today just considers you their real estate agent? Does that mean nobody's going to do anything? It was like a question. What are you going to do?
Pick up the phone.
I'm going to, one of my best friends had a birthday party this weekend, and I was able to connect and let them know that I just got my license. And they gave me their email, so I'm going to invite them out to have a cup of coffee and just
That's
see
good.
what's going on.
It's hard to go first. Jacques, what are you going to do today?
And follow up with people I made at a chamber event.
Okay, great. Jeff?
I followed up this morning with people that I met at Aurora Birthday Bash.
That's great. Rob?
Follow up with past customers.
Good. Carl?
Another video.
Okay. Can you make it more personal?
More personal than the chili pepper.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be related to that, yeah.
Tina, what are you going to do?
I'm going to go visit someone who I met a couple of weeks ago who called me when her son was a real estate agent. Because I don't see, she's supposed to close on her home, hasn't yet, and I'm going to find out why.
Jay, what are you going to do?
Well, I'm a new team mom for Jaden's basketball team, so I have to put the email thing together and start a Facebook group for mamas of the
Good.
flags.
Denzel?
Phone calls.
To who?
Still Butlers.
Okay. Good. Can you do something in a more social network?
Yeah, I could.
Like basketball? What would you do?
Well, I coach at Josh Creek High School.
Okay.
Eighth grade basketball head coach. So.
It's too bad none of those people live in houses, huh? I know. Gosh, if only they did. Basketball players don't like houses, though, do they? Yeah. What are you going to do?
Actually, a girl that I knew from South Carolina just moved into the market and was asking me earlier today where I could just go watch the Monday Night Football game with her friends. So I'm going to go hang out with them in Sports and Social.
Good. Joe?
I'm going to follow up with a gentleman I met yesterday that came through an open house. It's not working with an agent.
Good. Good. David?
All past clients and centers of influence.
I'm a little scared to ask. Steve?
Clients.
Okay. Tom?
Not real sure yet.
Okay. So you can't go home today until we expand our network by at least one person. Is that a fair enough deal?
Yep.
Okay, great. Let's get out of here and go do it.